Coffee always smells better on Friday. We made it. And this is the day. This is the day. I get to hear what you recommend we can read. What are there are movies, books, TED Talks, podcasts, whatever materials that are out there that are different voices. What do I hope? Comment, please. Let's make a resource library here on this video, right? Let's see what the different voices that of the human family that you have to lift up. I know I can lift up a few while you're furiously typing. I'm gonna pull up my Goodreads. Where's my Goodreads? Pull up my Goodreads. I'm really bad with movies, so if I could try to think of movies, I will forget, and this will be a really long video of me going, I don't remember. I do tell you, I saw a movie recently. I've seen it a couple times. I love it. Called Romero. Great movie. It gives us perspective on. I was in El Salvador. I got to go to El Salvador when I was in seminary on a class trip, and it was interesting to hear the perspective of how the American government was feeding the dictatorship guns and weaponry and stuff to put down communists, aka Christians and others. And it was interesting to see that perspective and see maybe a world perhaps that we're way too naive about in our world of globalization, how we're exploiting our global neighbors. Anyway, book-wise, my Goodreads is up now. If you're looking for some books, I would recommend to you Gustavo Gutierrez. He's fantastic, liberation theologian. His book on Job alone, it was exquisite. It really gives you a fresh perspective on Job, but probably one that's more classical than we care to admit, but it's really good. So yes, Gustavo Gutierrez, a good read. I read a good book by Alberto Garcia called Wittenberg Meets the World, Reimagining the Reformation at the Margins. Fantastic book. Really enjoyed that. It was a book full of different perspectives, and, leading up to the 500th anniversary of the Reformation. That was pretty cool. If you're looking for an ELCA voice, Lenny Duncan is the ELCA pastor. He's a openly, I think he puts it, queer person of color who's a pastor in the ELCA who writes a love letter to the church, helping us, some of it's love as we would think about it perhaps, commendatory, but it's also some tough love that we need to hear, to grow as a church. Check that out. Otis Moss, probably my favorite preacher. Fantastic. He's a African American preacher in Chicago. Anything he puts out, I read. He's fantastic. I hope you're typing furiously now with your books and your movies and such. I mean, TED Talks alone. TED Talks brings in all kinds of voices. Love TED Talks, cutting edge, ahead of their fields. Please read that. Or hear that. You don't read TED Talks. I guess you could. There's transcripts out there. Great for commuting. When we eventually get back to that. James Cone, Black liberation theologian. His Martin and Malcolm and America. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. Fantastic book. But in general, Miguel de la Torre, easy for me to say. Good theologian as well. Dolores Williams, a good womanist theologian. That is theology from the perspective of black women. Good. There's a bunch of other good voices there. This video's getting long. That's okay. Let's see. What's his name? Oh, shoot. Steph, what's the name of the Episcopal bishop who writes the good books? Yeah, I know, right? I'll comment it.
John Sponge, I think.
Spong.
Okay, sorry.
Spong. Joseph Spong? John. Anyway, the Bishop Spong. Great writer. Writes from different, admittedly progressive, but I think a theology that this church needs to hear. Anyway, let's see. I do want to read Between the World and Me by Ta-Nehisi Coates. That's on my list. And Just Mercy, which is by... Do you remember what Just Mercy is by? get interactive.
John Shelby Spong.
John Shelby Spong,
Hold
yes. I haven't read that one, but it's on my list. I have a lot of books that I haven't gotten around to reading. I have this terrible habit when at a book sale, like at the Festival of Homiletics or at the seminary, I see more books than I could ever hope to read in that year that I buy them. So, I'm trying to be better. Thank you. Between the World and Me. Very
Brian
good.
Stevenson.
Brian Stevenson, Just Mercy. And I think there's a TV show on this now.
Either that or some
that could
sort
be
of
good to check out.
documentary series.
Yeah.
Well, you probably won't read that one.
Well, you never know. Where I'm making a list. Americana by, I don't know how to say that name, and I don't want to offend this person. But anyway.
She's really awesome. She writes a bunch of fiction books. It's an excellent book.
Steph reads more now. I can hold it up since I'm incapable of saying her name. That's embarrassing. Anyway, but yes. Adichie? Yeah. Anyway, but yes. There's a lot of material out there, different voices. If you're talking about theologically, there's Black liberation theology, just a general. It's usually from Central South America, but it's from all over. It's a good perspective. It's different from our dead white men in seminary. With the Thoman theology, there's womanist theology, which I said, queer theology, feminist theology. Hello, women. It can be easy. Unfortunately, sometimes it can be easy to forget that women were not always ordained. And a lot of denominations they're not, but let alone, of course, that sexism is one of those isms the church continues to struggle with. It's not just racism; we got a bunch. But yeah, so I hope that this is helpful for you. And one thing I will say, I know this video is going really long. Got excited with books. You got me going on books. I've been in all over the LCA. Been part of 14 senates, 12 senates, somewhere in that window. Worked at camp, went to seminary, went to LC College, participated in intern programs before seminary. I'm kind of like the ELCA pipeline poster child, okay? And so I've seen the church. It's just the greater LCA. I haven't seen all of it. I've seen a large chunk of it, and I know from my experiences that we have room to grow. I've heard people say, well, I don't need to read these things. I already know it. No, you don't. There's always room to grow and expand, and voices that we haven't heard, voices that are part of our human family, right? And part of our connection with God. So please comment your resources. I know I went mostly theological, so bonus points if it's not theological, just in case, I don't know why you wouldn't want to read theological books, but just in case there are people who aren't as interested in the theological discussions, please comment. So have a good weekend. Start a new book. It'll be good for you. Or watch a movie if you don't feel like a book. Or listen to a TED Talk. They're only 15 minutes or less. You can do that while you're, I do that when I'm like washing dishes or something. So, all right. Have a good weekend. God bless.